Chuck says we got a long way to go. Your news recap and Royce and I face off on this edition of State of the Band's Weekend, starting right now. Hello and welcome to Arbitrage, State of the Band's Weekend for August 14th, 2021. I'm Joshua Stark. Hours after clinching an initial budget victory, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer conceded Wednesday that Democrats face a tough pathway to delivering a package surging $3.5 trillion into family, health, and environment programs to President Biden's desk. Schumer, a Democrat from New York, made the remarks after the Senate approved a budget resolution outlining Democrats' 10-year plan for transforming the government into an engine focused on helping lower-income people and slowing the planet's ominously warming temperatures. The real test will be when the Democrats write and vote on subsequent legislation. Britain's High Court granted U.S. authorities permission to expand their grounds for appealing an earlier UK court decision to block the extradition of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, where he is wanted on espionage charges. District Court Judge Vanessa Bartazer ruled in January that Assange was likely to kill himself if held under harsh U.S. prison conditions. The U.S. government is appealing. Claire Dobbin, a lawyer who represented U.S. authorities during a high court hearing on Wednesday, said Assange, who she said orchestrated one of the largest thefts of data in history, does not meet the threshold of being so ill that he cannot resist harming himself. She said a decision not to prosecute or extradite an individual would require a mental illness of the type that the ability to resist suicide has been lost. Assange's condition did not come close to this. A Canadian entrepreneur was sentenced to 11 years in prison this week on a spying case linked to Beijing's effort to push his country to release an executive of tech giant Huawei, prompting an unusual joint show of support for Canada by the United States and 24 other governments. China is stepping up pressure as a Canadian judge hears final arguments on whether to send the Huawei executive to the United States to face charges related to possible violations of trade sanctions on Iran. On Tuesday, a court rejected another Canadian's appeal of his sentence in a drug case that was abruptly increased to death after the executive's arrest. Entrepreneur Michael Spavor and a former Canadian diplomat were detained in what critics labeled hostage politics after Huawei's Meng Wanzhou was arrested December 1st. Sanderson Farms, the nation's third largest poultry producer, is being acquired for $4.53 billion as the price of chicken soars. Cargill and privately held Continental Grain formed a joint venture to acquire Sanderson and will pay $203 per share in cash for a company that last year processed more than 4.8 billion pounds of meat. The companies plan to combine Sanderson Farms with Wayne Farms, a Continental Grain subsidiary, to form a new privately held poultry business. Operations will include poultry processing plants and prepared food plants across Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Texas. Wayne Farms has more than 9,000 employees, makes products under brand names including Wayne Farms Fresh, Platinum Harvest, Chef's Craft, Naked Truth, and Lady Birdie.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This week's State of the Band blog includes Let's Face It, Right to Repair, and Right to Drug. All this and more in this week's State of the Band's blog, available now at arbitragetrade.com. Now, let's go to the president and CEO of Arbitrage Trade Analytics, Royce Wells, for more. You know, Royce, one of my favorite movies is that classic from John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. You know the one I'm talking about?
Face Off?
Yes, the one.
Ooh.
Man, it's probably one of my favorites. I understand that there's something called deep fake technology that's supposed to do basically a virtual face-off.
All right, so deep fake has been used, and it's like, have you seen the website Jib Jab?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and you do the Christmas Jib Jabs, and basically they attach your head to a picture, and then it looks like you're singing, and you're playing in Greece, and you're doing all these other things. That's pretty much similar technology. But deepfake goes one step further, and they say, let's make it as believable as possible. And typically it's usually used for nefarious reasons, like creating fake news or basically making revenge things, causing fraud, basically try to do criminal type activities with the technologies for gain, right? So a lot of people recently have developed a new software called Jigsaw that tries to detect deep fake, or basically pictures or movies or things that may have been altered, to see if they were altered. And they basically geeked out and went to the next level, and basically Jigsaw apparently searches on 7 different levels to figure this out, and I think they named the name of the program Assembler, because it's basically trying to assemble things together.
Nice.
Right? Yeah. And basically it was 94% effective in detecting fakes.
2, 1, go.
So hopefully in the future we'll be able to not only detect, but also possibly, as they get better at detecting, that means they should probably also get better at not being able to detect. Just as technology can be used for good, it can be used for worse things.
Evil.
Yes, evil. But not Dr. Evil, because that's a completely different thing.
Evil.
But yeah, so before you run off and basically start, make your own Twitter account and start tweeting fake news and all this other craziness out there, do a little research on deepfake. It is a fun read, and it's pretty cool, some of the things that you can do with all that.
One of the first uses of deepfake technology, from what I understand, is Tron.
Yeah, that was another good movie.
2010.
Jeff Bridges, right?
Tron, yeah, Jeff Bridges. He's old now. They made him young. Pretty cool.
Yeah, hey, if they can make me young, I'll take that.
I'm telling you. Well, I'm not getting any younger, so let's move on. More after this on Arbitrage Trade State of the Band's Weekend. Stick around.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The pandemic has reshaped how Americans exercise and upended the fitness industry, accelerating the growth of a new era of high-tech home workout equipment and virtual classes. Thousands of small fitness centers and studios that were forced to close a year ago are gone for good. Others are struggling to stay afloat and have redesigned their spaces, turning toward more personal workouts and added online training. The question is, can they survive the onslaught from the apps and pricey bikes and treadmills, or will they go the way of arcades, video rental shops, and bookstores? Interactive fitness equipment maker Peloton is betting the workout from home trend is here to stay. It's breaking ground Monday on its first U.S. factory outside Toledo, Ohio, where it plans production in 2023 and employ 2,000 workers. Demand surged so much during the pandemic that some Peloton customers had to wait months for their bikes. While the company said the backlog has waned, it reported that sales have continued to soar, up 141% in the first 3 months of this year. Company founder and CEO John Foley thinks it's inevitable that technology-driven home fitness will become dominant, much how like streaming services have changed movie watching, calling the idea of going to a gym a broken model of yesteryear. Its next steps include bringing more of its equipment into gyms at hotels, apartment complexes, and college campuses, and launching new workouts through its app. Late last year, it purchased Precor, a company with manufacturing and product development sites in the U.S. During the early months of the pandemic, most small and independent gyms and studios turned to Zoom and other video platforms for yoga and Pilates classes and training sessions because it was the only way they could connect with their members. Small gyms can't match the production quality and visual appeal of the high-tech companies, but they can counter with online offerings that feature personal attention and closer relationships between their members and staff. Not all gym operators are convinced virtual training will play a significant role in what they offer. We don't have the budget to do it at the same price and the same quality, said Jeff Sanders, CEO of Apex Athletic Health Club in Penfield, New York. Digital is great, but we've seen surveys that show people want to stay active but miss the interaction and being around others. His company is planning to open a third, smaller location near Orlando, Florida, that offers a more intimate experience. These type of boutique studios could be the wave of the future, he said. The pandemic has changed how the fitness industry evaluates itself, and right now everyone's making decisions just to survive, Sanders said. Roughly 9,000 health clubs, 22% of the total nationwide, have closed since the beginning of the virus outbreak, and 1.5 million workers lost their jobs, according to the International Health Racquet and Sports Club Association. The industry group is lobbying Congress to approve a $30 billion relief fund for the fitness industry because many clubs are struggling to recover from months of lost revenue and membership declines and still owe back rent. While more closings are likely this year and could number in the thousands without government help, the emergence of the workout from home trend won't spell doom for the fitness centers. Plenty of exercise fanatics still do both. 40% of Peloton users have gym memberships, according to the company. More after this, an arbitrage trade state of the band's weekend, including winners and losers.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Royce, I hear you had a phone issue.
Yeah, it died.
Yeah, that's not cool. So you took it to a repair shop, and they said what?
Pretty much they couldn't repair it because they weren't authorized.
That seems to be a problem these days. They call it right to repair, right?
Yeah, and apparently a whole lot of companies are starting to do it. So, like, what would otherwise be a very simple repair, like, for example, the phone was still working yesterday, right? And I can go, hey, Siri this and hey, Siri that, and it would work. However, couldn't see anything on the display. I can get in my car. I can even play songs and talk to Siri via my car. But, yeah, no display, so there's no unlocking the phone. There's no connecting the phone. There's anything like that. So, I thought, hey, if the only thing that's broken is the display, I should be able to easily get this repaired. They're like, no can do, and if you want to get it done, it's probably going to be at least $150 or so at the Apple store.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's enough to basically use your insurance, if you have insurance on your phone, to possibly get another phone.
Seriously, man. Just get that upgrade.
Yeah, but it gets worse, Josh, because think about, Guy. Hey, yeah, I'll call you Guy. Hey, it gets worse, Josh. Think about this, like remember, like in the 70s or whatever, they used to hotwire cars and basically be able to fix your tools or your equipment to be able to work.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Farmers can't even do that. Basically, John Deere has put in measures that basically would otherwise be a very simple fix. Like, okay, let's prime the engine or something, or give it a little bit extra so that it'll actually turn over. Yeah, no, they have locked it down so if you mess with anything in there, you can't. It won't do what you expect it to do, and you can only get their dealers to actually fix and repair it.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. Tractors manufactured after a certain date, I think it's 1998, I believe, if I remember right. Tractors, combines, any kind of farming equipment, it's all computer controlled right now. I have a friend of mine who is a farmer that has a GPS controlled tractor. He can just sit there, drink his coffee, and the tractor drives itself.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Seriously.
But sometimes technology can help, it also can put governors, let's say, in place to prevent you from being able to get full use of what you purchased with your own hard-earned money.
Yeah, and Apple seems to be the most public of these offenders.
Oh yeah, multiple offenses. Apple has been accused of, right? So I believe they recently, however, although that is true, they recently, however, said that the iPhone 12 is the most repairable phone so far to be released.
Well, that's good. You got one?
Yes, now I do.
There you go.
So hopefully I won't wind up in this boat again.
Yeah. So there are advocacy groups that are calling for reform on right to repair. A lot of YouTubers, there are a lot of YouTubers that are really right to repair, especially about Apple stuff. I know we're harping on that. I'm sitting in front of an Apple iMac right now that I repaired myself, and I'm really an advocate for it.
Yeah. Basically, the more you know, the better you can sustain what you have, right? Teach people how to do something and allow them to do it. Curiosity sparks new invention, so Don't lock it down.
Well, we've got to lock down our next break, so you know what? Royce, I'm going to teach you how to go to break. Do me a favor, just say stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Impressive.
Help.
Ayuda.
帮助.
Edem.
Help. In the wake of a disaster, there are many people from all backgrounds and all walks of life who need help. Help is available through FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We're here to provide help to all those who need it. Help.
帮助. Edem.
帮助. Help. If you or someone you know has been affected by a disaster, call us at 800-621-FEMA. If your home or property has been damaged or destroyed, you've lost your job or income, or face other emergency needs, please call the Federal Emergency Management Agency at 800-621-FEMA. FEMA. Help is here.
A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad
Welcome,
Council.
traders, to Winners and Losers Banks Edition. Our first winner with a 21% gain, this ETN seeks to reflect a 3 times leveraged long exposure to the performance of the Selective Microsectors U.S. Big Banks Index. The notes are senior unsecured medium-term notes issued by the Bank of Montreal with a return linked to a 3 times leveraged participation in the performance of the index, compounded daily, less a daily investor fee, the daily financial charge, and if applicable, the redemption fee amount. The index is an equal dollar-weighted index designed to represent the 10 U.S. stocks with the largest market capitalization in the banking sector. Microsectors Big Bank Leveraged ETN, symbol BNKU, starts at 6087. Next, this winner, up 18%, provides investment banking, sales and trading, equity research, and asset management products and services in the United States. The company operates through broker-dealer, asset management fee income, and investment income segments. JMP Group, symbol JMP, starts at $5.90 a share. Losers this week, with a 23% loss, this company provides various consumer and commercial banking services to individuals and businesses. It accepts demand interest-bearing and non-interest-bearing savings, money market now and time deposit accounts, as well as certificates of deposit, and offers residential and commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, commercial, land and construction, and consumer loans, as well as lending lines for working capital needs. Optimum Bank Holdings, symbol OPHC, starts at $5.50 a share. Next, this loser, down 9%, provides general retail and commercial banking services to individuals, businesses, associations, and organizations, and governmental authorities in the United States. It offers checking, savings, individual retirement, and healthcare savings accounts, as well as other time deposits, including money market accounts and certificates of deposit. Bank of the James Financial Group, symbol BOTJ, starts at $14.37. And last, this loser, at 8% down, this loser provides various commercial and consumer banking services. The company accepts various deposits products, including checking, savings, demand deposit, money market deposit, term certificate, and individual retirement accounts, as well as certificates of deposit. United Bank Shares, symbol UBOH, starts at $31.48. Winners and Losers is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute advice in trading. Percentages and stock prices were current at time of recording. Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is solely responsible for the content of this podcast, but you should seek out the assistance of a licensed professional for investment advice. More after this on Arbitrage Trade's State of the Bands Weekend.
Powers Not Included, the comic book podcast. A podcast about comics, games, toys, and everything geek. They talk about Deadpool, Deathstroke, Deathlock, The Night of the Living Dead, and The Walking Dead. Why the fixation on dead stuff? Find out when you subscribe to Powers Not Included on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. And then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
A lot of people don't understand, including myself, I didn't, now I do, the impact of having a stroke.
My memory is shot.
When I woke up, I couldn't speak.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
It's a new life, but I'm going to make it better. I'm coming back. Ask your doctor check your blood pressure.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Royce, I hear you've been buying drugs lately.
Yes, lots of them.
Tell me
Okay, that's not true. Little of them, but for a whole lot of money.
Yeah?
Yeah, recently I had a prescription filled for something I think it's called Eucrista, right? And it's basically stuff for like eczema, right? So you would think, okay, it's a cream, shouldn't cost that much, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, try $739 to fill that prescription.
Ow.
And that's with insurance.
Ow.
Right, but thank goodness, I also recently discovered that there is another company out there that's actually trying to make generics and distribute them en masse.
Nice.
Yeah. Civica RX basically started about 3 years ago by a hotel consortium, and they basically are trying to create about 50 injectable generics and about 1,400 other different types of medications to go widespread by 2023. So they're basically fighting the fact that there's been shortage, and basically hospitals and drug manufacturers have been holding patents by patent law for decades, preventing people from making generics. They're basically trying to do it as quickly as possible to get medicines to the people who really need it. Even Walmart has joined the fray, and they'll be offering their own insulin at its in-house brand for people with diabetes. It's selling its own version in the meantime of I think it's called Novolog. Novolog is the person who primarily delivers insulin, or basically distributes and manufactures it and then sells it. But they were able to team up with the person who's actually manufacturing the insulin, and I think they're called Novo Nordisk, and put them together. They're able to deliver it for half the cost, basically almost getting rid of the middleman and the extra markup to make it affordable to the people.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Cuban even jumped in by giving his name and money to public benefit company aiming to provide cheap alternatives to high-cost genetic drugs at about 15% above what the manufacturers cost. So basically, instead of having the 200 to 300% markup, it's only 15% higher. So that way there's a little bit of profit margin, but it's not absurd profit margin. So the people who really need it and who otherwise would not be able to afford it are basically singing these people's praises, right?
Yeah.
Mark Cuban even in January, his Cost Plus drug company launched its first medication, a pill for parasitic worm infections.
Those parasitic worm infections, man, they get you.
Yeah, and basically they're selling them for about $40 per dose, which is way cheaper than you can. Basically, if you look it up, the price is astounding.
It's cheaper than $700 per tube of ointment, right?
Yeah, you had to remind me of that, didn't you?
I did. We're going to have more Arbitrage Trade State of the Bands weekend next time. So say goodnight, Royce.
Good night, Gracie.
That's not it. All right, fine. Y'all have a good weekend. Come back and see us next time.
Research, fundamental experience, technical analysis, statistical probability. It's what sets us apart and what will get you to stop watching and start living. Get started today at arbitragetrade.com.
Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, is a privately held market research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the content of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to be investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, please visit arbitrage